Hello everyone. We're going to do something a little bit different today. I'm going to teach you how to make this tentacle arm that I've got here. I might do something a bit more in a future project with this for another video, but yeah, I was kind of messing around with a few things the other night and made this. I thought it was pretty cool, so yeah, I thought I'd put a bit of a tutorial together and for anybody that's interested, show how I went about making this. And yeah, I mean, there's plenty of things you could use this for, but I don't know, I might make some kind of robot or something with it in the future, but yeah, keep an eye out for that. But for now, let's see how we went about doing this, and yeah, thank you for stopping by, and here we go. Yeah, so first up you'll notice I've set the grid snap to big and the angle to 90. So we're just going to take a basic piece of cardboard out here, the size of one big square, and click and drag it, so we've got two, and then we're going to place another single one behind it, glue that together, and then we'll put some wobble bolts on there, well, one wobble bolt. So yes, the reason we're using wobble bolts specifically is because of the rotation for one, and when we later on in the video take away the strength of the bolt, it will only rotate as far as you've set the angle to rotate. So it's quite useful actually. So yeah, so we're going to start off with this basic structure, put a microchip down, and then we're going to make it so that it's invincible, sorry, indestructible. We're going to put an anti-gravity tweaker on it as well, just as is. And a material tweaker, we're going to take the friction down, like I say, make it indestructible. I usually take the physics sounds and put the shadows off. I'm going to set it to non-stick as well. So yeah, and we're going to take a physics tweaker here, and we're going to turn the collisions off. So this is step one. Quite easy. Yeah, we just copy that microchip and put it on that back one as well. So there we go, that's step one. Okay, so step two, we're just going to copy that piece that we just made and place it there next to it. We're going to turn the grid back on just a moment. So you'll see why we placed a wobble bolt on the opposite end. So you can literally just press X to place it down and it will bolt in place, and it bolts onto that thin piece that you put on the back of that first one. You can see there that I've just copied and pasted it a couple of times, and then we've what have we got there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that'll be long enough for this arm that we're making here. And I'm just gonna delete one, and just so I can nick that that circular piece there. And this one, we're just going to use that for the very first part. So the left end is going to be the sort of like the base end, and then the other end is like the tip. So you can see here that I'm just editing the sync option, because we want to get a nice kind of like flowing tentacle movement first. So the sync will make it so that all of the bolts will kind of move just slightly different to each other but stay in the same pattern. So you'll see what I mean in a moment. So here we are, we're up to about 1.2. So yeah, I've through experimentation I found that a difference in 0.2 every single time, it looks quite smooth. So at the moment we've got 8 wobble bolts. There we go, look, you can see that. And it's only got a rotation of about 15, so got a nice smooth movement going on there. So I'm just making a little adjustment to each wobble bolt here. I'm changing the rotation to 30 instead of 15. Thought it'd give us a bit more rotation, so that's each bolt there. I've just changed to 30 instead. I'm just going to change it so that they're invisible as well, and we'll have a quick look and see what that looks like in a moment. There we go. So we've got a lot more rotation there, and yeah, movement still looks pretty small because of that sync setting that we did before. So let's move on to the next step. Okay, so moving on now, let's actually look into how we're going to control this thing, because we want to basically make it so that we can kind of aim it in any direction that we see fit, basically. So it's actually quite simple. So we're just going to take a microchip here and place it on the very tip. So this isn't the base end, this is the tip of the tentacle, if you like. And yeah, we're just going to going to get a little bit of hologram here and put a controller-nator down so we can see what we're doing. We can sort of build next to it then. We'll place this down, and we're primarily going to use the left stick for this build, and we're going to use L1 as well. But for now, we're going to set up the left stick and the movement. So what we need first of all is we're going to need a advanced mover. So we're actually going to take the central part of the controller-nator there. So as soon as you hop in, there we are. We want that, and we're going to plug that into the on-off port. So we're going to take the left-right and put that into the left-right of the advanced mover. Same for the up-down. We're going to put that into the up-down part of the advanced mover, and then we're just going to set it so that it's got a bit of speed, but not too much. So we don't want too much speed because we don't want to end up breaking the bolts. So here's where we take the strength away from each bolt, like I mentioned earlier. So the thing with this is that although you've took the strength away, the bolt is still only going to rotate the 30 degrees that we've set it to. So obviously if you want your tentacle arm to be able to sort of rotate a lot more, you can set it that way. But of course, obviously if you spin them around too much, there's always the risk that you could snap a joint. So there we go. So we've got the left, right and up down sort of control always around for this. So that's what the advanced mover is doing right now. But we want to put something else in place in a moment just to give it a little bit more control. You can see I'm actually slowing it down here because it's a little bit too fast for what I'm after. So yeah, that's more like it. And you can see there when I took it right down near to the ground, that bend, if you push that too much and you've got too much strength on your mover, you can actually break the tentacle. So although I've set it to indestructible, the bolts themselves you can't set them to indestructible. So yeah. Anyway, so we want a joystick rotator because it says here the angle of the objects it'll match the angle that we're sort of rotating in basically. So we're going to set it up exactly the same way that we did the other one. We're going to use the center of the controller-nator there for the on-off, and we're going to use the left, right, and the up-down. So this will just it'll really kind of sort of spearhead the end of the tentacle into the direction that it'll translate through the left stick in which way you want to position it. So there we go. We've got full control of the end of that tentacle now. So it basically will aim in any direction that you put the left stick in. Aim the left stick into, so yeah, you've got full control of it now. So yeah, that's basically the bulk of the movement for this thing. So yeah, in a moment we'll move on to another feature. So anyway, moving on. So let's actually set up the pincers, like the grabbing mechanism for this tentacle now. So you know the part that you saw at the start of the video, let's move on to that now. So I'm just going to take a couple of basic shapes. We're going to take this triangle looking shape here and just going to cut a wedge into it like that, and then I'm going to chop that end bit off there, and then we're just going to copy it, flip it round, and then this back circular piece there, that's what we're going to use to actually bolt these things onto. So there's a bit of trickery involved with this build. These pincers are basically just for show. So I'm going to teach you how to actually do the grab part later on in the video, but I'm just going to show here how I set this up. So again, we're just going to take 2 wobble bolts, and it's funny actually because when I unpaused, I was actually happy with the angle that they kind of moved at immediately. You just have to reverse one of them because they want to move at the same angle at the same time. So you have to reverse one of the bolts so that you can get that kind of pincer action that I'm talking about. So I'm just going to copy a couple of these microchips from the main body that we've got. So again, we don't want any sort of physical touching with it or anything like that. We'll keep the theme of having the anti-gravity on there, so it's all nice and light. Yeah, collision's off. So in a moment I'll unpause so you can see the kind of pincer action that I was talking about, and then we'll go to the next step from there. Yeah, I kind of forgot there that I needed to set it to static rather than dynamic. So when you do that, the bolts can always sort of because it's on anti-gravity as well. Remember, the bolts can always end up sort of spinning the whole thing. So yeah, now that we've set it to static and the arms to dynamic and reversed one of the bolts, you can see the pincer action that I was talking about. So in a moment, I'm actually just going to put this over the end of the tentacle arm just to get a basic idea of what we're looking at. Here we go. So this is kind of what we're looking for, this this sort of motion here. And because I reversed there, I completely forgot that I'd have to reverse the bolt again, so let's do that. There we go. So there, you've got a nice little pincer action going on there. So we'll move on to the next step after this. Okay, so this is what I was talking about it basically being a trick. So we're just going to copy that again, and we're going to delete everything off of it, and we only want one piece, basically, so we're going to turn this into a piece of hologram, and we're going to make it thin as well. Turn the brightness all the way down. So we just want that one half of the claw there, and then I'll show you what we're going to do next. So because remember that one above it is it's not physical, like it's not. I set it so that the physics tweaker there's no touching basically, like it can't physically touch anything. So yeah, it's basically all for show. So I'm just going to pick something here that looks a little bit like it could be a bit of a claw hand or a claw arm. You can have a look through the decorations, or you can keep it as as material looking if you like. But I kind of like the look of this decoration looking claw here, so I just copied this. Yeah, so because it's a thin piece, I just copied it and 4 times basically, and then moved it up to the original piece, and we're just going to simply glue these onto the original mechanism. So just these 4 pieces of hologram with a decoration on, we'll hover it over there, glue them on, and then we'll get another look at it. So yeah, pretty simple stuff really, So because this is just for looks, it's not actually what physically grabs anything. You can be pretty creative with it. So yeah, we'll glue these up, get a little look at it, and then we're actually going to we're going to change the cardboard pieces to hologram anyway. You don't have to do this. You can just put a tweaker on it so that the opacity is set to 0%, so you can't actually see them. But yeah, I use a lot of holograms, so old habits die hard basically. But yeah, there you are. So you can kind of see what we're going for here. We're making everything invisible now, the bolts and the material that we've used to glue down there. So yeah, so that's the basic setup for that. So in a moment we'll move on to actually sort of putting it onto the claw arm itself. But this one I'm going to keep as cardboard, and just so that's what I was talking about. So just turn the opacity all the way down, and then there we are. Nice little sort of grabbing motion there. So anyway, move on to the next step. Okay, so I'm just going to set up another little piece of logic here. So we're going to basically have a bit of a toggle switch set up. So we'll grab another microchip and put it onto the tip of the tentacle. So where the original pieces of logic are, you got that advanced mover and the joystick rotator. So yeah, we're going to use this this little toggle here. And this is where L1 comes into play. So we're actually going to set these wobble bolts. At the moment they're set to on-off, so we're going to change that in a moment. We're going to set them to backwards forwards. So the reason we want to do that is because we want to be able to tap L1 and the claws to change. So with that toggle up there, it's just a really simple way of doing it. There are other ways of setting this up, but yeah, with that toggle up there, it'll just you'll see the effect in a moment. I'm just turning the time down on these so it's a bit quicker, so it looks a bit more of a snappy motion. So here we go. So we tap it, open, close, open, close. So yeah, nice and simple. Really simple kind of setup there. So just going to pick out a little sound effect now or two, just to represent the opening and closing of the, I suppose, those jaws. So we'll just go down to mechanisms for this one. I think in the other one that I built, I picked a couple of different sounds, but again, doesn't matter. It's you know, whatever you want it to be. You can have it as like chicken sounds if you wanted to, or whatever, or animal sounds. It doesn't matter. But yeah, just something to kind of indicate the opening and the closing of the claws, basically. That's what we're after here. So yeah, in a moment, when I'm happy, I'll pick something, and then I'll finish the setup for this. So the good thing about the toggle is that you can literally just copy and paste another one and kind of reverse it, but we'll set that up with L1 as well. So when you click L1, you'll get a tick on one and a cross on the other one. So it's like they flip between being on and off. Like I say, you can do the same thing with NOT gates or most other pieces of logic, but the toggle's nice and simple and pretty visual as well. You get a definite on and a definite off. So yeah, you can see there I've just flipped it and reversed it. Reversed it, and then you hook them in accordingly, you know, what sound you want. So when the claws are open, we've got that sound. When they're closed, we've got the other sound. That's kind of what we're after here. Yeah, nice and simple. Simple stuff. Let's move on to the next step. Alright, let's move on now. We're actually going to put this claw in place. So we've got all of the look there that we're after, so we just need to basically put it in place and glue it down. Don't do what I did. I forgot that I'd set the back piece, the piece that the wobble bolts are clamped onto. I forgot to set that back to dynamic instead of static, but you'll see my mistake here in a moment. So yeah, we're just going to glue it onto that tip piece, like you know, where all of the logic is so far. So you know, this is kind of like the business end of the claw. So you can see there, I forgot to set it to dynamic. So now that we've done that, everything's sort of hooked up in place, and you can see it moving around there. So yeah, so at the moment it's not going to grab anything, but we've got the look that we're after. We've got the fluidity of the tentacle arm. So basically that's everything built so far. So I'm going to show you how we achieve the grabbing motion next, and that's actually quite simple itself. Alright then, so let's move on now. So we're just going to take a simple square, make sure it's in the same layer as the tentacle. So we're going to just take a thin piece, like so. I don't quite need it that long. And we're going to just going to nick one of those microchips, like we've been doing the whole build basically. So the only difference is the material tweaker itself. We're going to have two. So this is where the bit of sort of trickery comes into place that I was talking about before. So in a moment we'll get to that when I stop sort of messing about. But yeah, you can see here everything's the same as those other pieces, but we've got this one set to non-stick. So we're actually going to get two of these, and we're going to set one of them to sticky, and we're going to have the other one as non-stick. So there we are. Let's put that on sticky. So we're going to use the same setup kind of that we did for the sounds. We're going to have another toggle setup again, and because we want it to work with L1, we're just going to use L1 again, like I say, and follow the same pattern as the sounds basically. So the only thing you've got to watch out for is making sure that when the claws are open, you want it to be non-stick. When the claws are closed, you want it to be sticky. So you just got to make sure you've hooked the right one up there in correspondence with it opening and closing. So, you know, if you get it wrong, it's just a simple case of rewiring it, or just sort of flipping the, reversing the order of those toggles. It's really easy, simple stuff, but I think I managed to somehow get it right first time. I've been doing this for a long time, but still managed to mess up quite often. But yeah, so here we go. So you see there it's closed, it's clamped down, and it's set to sticky at this moment in time. So yeah. So the trick is basically it's a bit of an illusion. So that piece of cardboard there that we've just set to sticky and non-sticky, we're going to glue that into the end of the tentacle arm. And when the claws clamp, it changes, the toggles change the properties of that piece of cardboard to become sticky. So when you kind of hover it over a piece of cardboard or a material or an object or whatever you want to pick up, it gives the impression that the claw arms are actually doing the work, when in reality it's actually just that piece of sticky cardboard. So you just glue it onto the main body of it again, the tip, and there we are. So in a moment we're going to see the effect of that after we sort of jump up to the next bit. So there we are. So yeah, I forgot to say we want collisions on for this. For that particular piece there, we need to turn the collisions on. I forgot to mention that in the last bit. And also, we're going to put an opacity tweaker on there so that you can't see that middle piece of cardboard. Because remember, it's supposed to be an illusion. It's supposed to be those grabbers that are doing the work, even though we know differently. But yeah, so the idea is that that is the only physical piece on the tentacle arm. Everything else is kind of set so that it doesn't physically hit anything else apart from that one piece. So you can see there how it's set sticky because we were touching that piece of cardboard there just as we were clamping down with those pincers, and you get the illusion that yeah, you're grabbing hold of things with that. So yeah, that's how we go about doing that little trick. But yeah, like I say, quite simple stuff. So anyway, I just wanted to show an example here of something else that you can do. So much in the same way that we did those claws, you can put decorations on the main body of the tentacle arm if you want to. I just thought it looked pretty cool. I just found like this bolt looking decoration and put it on decoration mounts here. So you can just see I'm just actually breaking them off of here, just to give an idea of how I line them up. So yeah, you kind of just sort of play around with this. Each segment that moves, you kind of stick a decoration mount on with your decoration in there. And I picked this bolt in particular because you've got that threaded bit in the middle, so it kind of looks like it's all joined up. You know, there's no illusion that there's no indication that there's a gap there unless the tentacle arm itself bends too much. But yeah, so I'm just showing here how you kind of go about doing that. You just literally put an opacity tweaker on all of your pieces, make them invisible, to sort of make way for the decoration that you're planning on putting down there. So you can see that, look, they're all invisible now. So we're going to preview. So there you go. So yeah, I'm just going to take a couple of those decorations and actually stick them on, so you can see what I'm talking about. I'm not going to do the whole thing, but yeah, I'm just going to kind of give you an idea of how we can do this. So you basically want the first one to go with that first bolt there, and you can sort of copy and paste and sort of line it up like that. You can put it side by side so you can see what we're doing here. There we are. So that very first segment is the one that we're going to glue this decoration mat onto. So we'll grab that one, hide that one, and just glue it onto there, look, like that. And then you follow the pattern, so we'll hide that one, and there, the next segment. You see that? So let's just get a little look at what we've done here. And get into the thing. There you go. You see how it follows along from there. So it's not difficult, it's just a bit tedious. There we have it, guys. That's basically my tutorial and guide for how to make a little sort of fun tentacle arm in LittleBigPlanet 3. It looks pretty convincing, and yeah, you can see here I'm using the one that I've got all of the decorations on for, and it works really well. It just might need to tweak a few bits here and there, but yeah, if you follow this guide, you'll get something very, very similar, if not practically the same. So yeah, not difficult, just a bit of fun really. And like I say, I might make a future project with this next, or I'm not sure yet, but just wanted to share this with you because I spent a little bit of time sort of planning and making this. So yeah, for anybody that's wondering how you go about doing this sort of thing, this tutorial's for you. But yeah, anyway, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and join me again for the next video, and thank you. See ya.